Today I'm watching the Twilight Zone Season 3, Episode 3 is the start of this third season. I do feel like the third season is off to a little bit of a stronger start than the second season. It's still amazing. The whole series has been so well done. The previous episode was about this flight that went missing, or so we were led to believe. It was this illusion, and then we find out that it did go missing, but, a long time ago, and the person who was in charge of solving the case never really got over it, and, had this guilt about not being able to figure it out. And yeah, I enjoyed it, and there was no next time on the Twilight Zone, so I have no idea what this episode is about, but really enjoying the series. It's been so great to watch this, so thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for movies or TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And if you want to see exclusive content from this episode, be sure to join Patreon. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. This is a birthday party? That kind of sounded like the birthday song. Yeah, there we go.
Who today is 1 year older and admits to being over 21. Taking care of not only us, our children, but even our grandchildren.
Oh, that's sweet. Yeah, he seems nice. Aw.
Going for? Ah, yes. The Good Doctor's bomb shelter. Well,
okay, interesting.
what with all the concrete trucks and the nocturnal hammering and all the rest of it.
This feels like red flags. I don't know what's going on.
Man with a little black bag, as we do for ours. Well done, Serling. It's true.
Yeah, he obviously seems like this well-respected character, but yeah, I'm still curious to see where we're gonna go.
What did you say, Paul?
Well, the announcer said something about turn to the Conrad station on the radio.
Are you sure?
Comrade station? Oh, no, I'm worried.
He said turn to the Conrad station, and then everything went completely blank.
I feel like this is the Doctor's worst nightmare. He's got a bomb shelter, and yeah, given the time period that this came out in.
Early warning line reported radar evidence of unidentified flying objects flying due southeast.
We got UFOs? Okay.
These objects, but for the time being, in the interest of national safety, we are declaring a state of yellow alert.
Yellow, what does that mean?
We repeat, if you're in your home, go to your prepared shelters or to your basement.
He's like, this is what I've been building for. This is what I've been planning. Like, you're making fun of me for building the shelter, but now obviously you're gonna need it. And UFOs! Oh my gosh, I'm very excited. And yeah, I can't imagine. I know there was real fear around certain things happening at this time.
It does happen. This is the Twilight Zone.
I'm worried. I'm excited to see where we're gonna go, but yeah, I'm worried. It's reminded me a little bit of Fallout, which I know is a video game that came out much later, but then you can check out those reactions on my channel as well.
And it costs $100 an ounce. Maybe in an hour or so it'll be worth even more than that.
And I can't imagine how terrifying this would be. If you thought this was real, like...
What about light bulbs?
Oh gosh, yeah, and like, what do you bring? What do you not bring? And yeah, like the sheer panic, and it'd be just terrifying.
15 minutes.
I'm just winging it, Grace. I don't know for sure. I don't think anyone does.
This is usually their first time doing these things, so they have no idea. Like, at least they have a place to go, but still, I couldn't imagine, yeah.
I think we've got enough water. You bring a jug with you, Gracie. Paul and I'll get the rest.
I'm really curious to see where this is gonna go. Yeah, sounds very curious, and yeah, like, how do you prepare for everything? Like,
We've got food and water enough to last us for 2 weeks. Maybe even longer if we use it wisely.
I think you're gonna, oh my gosh, yeah, if there's radiation, I don't think 2 weeks is gonna be long enough, but...
The rubble and the ruin and the bodies of our friends.
Oh gosh, I mean, yeah, I can understand why she'd be so afraid.
Easier, just quicker if we just...
Oh, she just wants to give up? Oh my gosh, which is sad. Yeah, I mean, so many big, conflicted feelings going on right now with her, like, oh.
We repeat our previous announcement, we are in a state.
And who do you let into the shelter if somebody doesn't have one? Turning on your neighbors. Do you show compassion?
Cavity cellar, remember? The advantages of modern architecture. We got the only brand new house in the block. We get
With
everything.
no basement. Oh my gosh.
Electric laundry room right off the kitchen.
Wow, wow.
There enough room or supplies or anything. It's designed for 3 people.
Well, we'll bring our own food. We'll bring our own water. We'll sleep standing up.
It's still, yeah, what do you do in that situation?
That's a 10 by 10 room, Jerry, with an air filter designed to supply 3 people. Will you bring your own air?
Oh my God.
My family I have to worry about.
Do you think I'm going to stand by and watch my wife and children die in agony? I'm not going to do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, turning on each other. Oh, they're going to lose the water. Oh my gosh.
Forget them and make the admission to yourself that the worst was possible. But you didn't want to listen, Jerry. None of you wanted to.
Yeah, of course nobody would want to believe that.
It's got to be gone!
They're already in the shelter, Marty. I told you they'd be.
Oh my God. Yeah, and like your neighbors coming over for help, and then other people coming over. Oh my gosh.
Won't help anyway.
I can't help you, Marty.
He's downstairs?
Yes,
In the shelter?
Yes.
Bill?
And like the more people just come in to ask, and he's not gonna even though he knows that like that might be condemning them to death, and she's got a baby. Oh my gosh.
Come back and get us, please.
Bill, it's Marty.
God, and to hear them just outside the door as well would be devastating.
Bill, please. Please, Bill. It's Marty.
I can't, Marty.
And these people were just at his birthday party celebrating what a good person he was.
You're a doctor! You're supposed to help people!
Oh gosh. Yeah, like at what point is it like worth risking your own family to save another family? Can you help everybody? Yeah, like I couldn't imagine that having to make that choice. It would just be, I mean, everybody I think would want to say they'd help everybody, but I don't know what would happen.
Do you hear me? Get out of here, Marty!
And like, you're like, our neighbor has one. Surely they'll help us. And clearly that's not the response. Like, you can use the basement, which is full of windows. So somehow I don't think that's gonna work. Oh my gosh, yeah. I'm very, invested in this episode, but it's just very conflicted as to where we're gonna go.
He slammed the door right in my face.
Yeah, and like the panic this family would be feeling as well, and like every other family coming over.
We ought to find one basement to go to work on that. Pool all of our stuff, food, water, everything.
I tell you, just as
Not a bad idea, not a bad idea.
Why don't we just go down to his basement and break down the door?
Frank, wait a minute, Frank!
Yeah, like these guys are all willing to work together, but
Jerry, you know him better than any of us. You're his best friend. Go down there again.
and the kids are just eating the cake, and like the candlelight, the shadows, just adding this tension.
If you're going to argue about who deserves to live more than the next one, you shut your mouth!
Yeah, how do you make that argument? Yeah, like who chooses to go in and survive, and who stays out?
Pushy, grabby, semi-Americans!
Why, you garbage-brained idiot!
Oh my God, now the real feelings are coming out now.
You're at the bottom of the list.
Keep it up, we won't even need a bomb. You'll be able to slaughter each other.
Marty.
I mean, he's not wrong. They're really turning on each other.
It won't do any good.
Searchlights must be coming closer. Come on, Frank, come on, let's go out and take a look.
You gotta find a basement or something. Like, come on.
Frank's right.
You are a
Come
public
on.
official,
Let's do it right now.
government employee.
No, wait a minute.
He's not gonna open that door. There's no way. He's sealed it off. He's never gonna open it. He's made his choice.
They mean business out here.
And I mean business in here. I've already told you.
Yeah, he's dug his heels in. He's not gonna move. God, all the kids. It's so sad. I mean, should they, spend their time finding other plans instead of just focusing on this one?
Patronize home industries. You idiots, you fools, you're insane, all of you.
Yeah, she's not even willing to let people over from the next street.
Nobody cares what you think, you or your kind. I thought I made it clear.
Oh my God, this guy sucks.
I think the first order of business is to get you out of here.
Oh my God, nothing's even happening. They're just turning on each other.
Get that battering ram and break down that door.
This poor guy.
And remember that. You've had your chance.
Well, either way, the neighborhood's definitely not going to be the same. I think the next birthday party will be quite somber because they are not going to be celebrating. Oh my gosh.
We better get up some of this furniture in this bunk so we'll have some protection in case that door goes through.
Yeah, like if this is your last minutes on Earth, you could just focus on finding a basement to be safe. Instead, they're just so adamant on trying to break down their neighbors. They're like, oh, it's our shelter. I'm like, you have ownership over it now suddenly? You were making fun of him for it, you know, an hour ago.
Come on, bring it in.
It's getting real Lord of the Flies in here. Yeah, they're turning on each other real fast. Like, nobody wins in this situation. If they bust down the door, then what? They're gonna fit 30 of them in through a broken door? That's not gonna protect anybody. Oh my god, it's just madness.
Satellites. Repeat, there are no enemy missiles approaching.
It was just a satellite. Oh my god, you guys are nuts!
The state of emergency has officially been called off. We are in no danger.
Oh, they're in danger for sure. Social, yeah, ostracized. Those neighbors are not talking to each other ever again. Oh my god. He's like, thank you for putting my family at risk because you didn't have a plan, and also breaking down our door and being rude to— yeah, he's not gonna talk to you now, buddy. You punched him.
I didn't mean any of those things I said to you.
Clearly you did. Clearly you wanted to say that for a long time.
Little?
Oh, I don't think Marty's gonna hold it against you, Frank.
Oh, he's definitely gonna hold it against you.
Just like I don't think Bill is gonna hold all this against us.
You broke down his door.
We could have a block party tomorrow night or something.
Bill's like, get the frick out of my house right now.
Great one now.
Hey, that's a great idea, block party. Anything to get back to normal, huh?
You weren't even gonna let the people one street over in, and now you want to have a block party?
I thought I did once. I don't anymore.
This poor guy just seems so confused that his so-called friends acted this way. He also made some choices, obviously, as well, but...
I wonder if any one of us has any idea what those damages really are.
yeah, I don't think he's talking about the door with damages, so...
Who put such a price on staying alive that they'll claw their neighbors to death just for the privilege?
yeah, exactly, yeah. They were so vulnerable and scared and just lost any social sort of normalcy.
I wonder if we weren't destroyed, even without it.
Yeah, their friendships are done. This whole social gathering is never going to happen again. This one event has just ruined this entire street. And I'm sure similar situations were happening, you know, across the whole city and maybe other cities, but...
Tonight's very small exercise in logic from the Twilight Zone.
yeah, that's interesting. The importance of being civilized to one another. So that was my first time watching The Twilight Zone, Season 3, Episode 3. I really liked this episode. A lot of complex things going on, which I love. But yeah, lots of big situations and, you know, big feelings in this episode. And I thought the radio said Comrade Radio, but I think it was something different. I think I might have misheard that. But because I was like, that feels like a very, you know, knock to a certain country and a certain situation. So I was like, oh, we're just going for it. And then the UFOs came in, so that's why I was like, oh, are they bringing in UFOs now? And I love sci-fi, so anytime we get to have UFOs involved, they do just call them, you know, unidentified flying objects, and we don't ever get to see them. They kind of just do the sci-fi, you know, sound to elude that they're coming, and of course we get the sound of the alarms going off as well. But I mean, given the time that this would have come out, I can't imagine what it would have been like to watch it on TV. I think it probably would have played into a lot of real fears, maybe some underlying fears, maybe some people talked about things that they hadn't talked about. Maybe there were people who had bunkers. Maybe this episode made them think about what they would do if they had them. I don't know, and it definitely reminded me also of a TV show called Fallout, which is based on a video game. Very similar premise, you know, the bombs do come in Fallout, and do they have to decide who goes into the bunkers and who doesn't? You can check out those reaction videos on my channel as well, but, you know, to have this come out in 1961, I mean, that's a whole different ball game, and I really liked it, and to see how everybody kind of just unravels, and, you know, I'd like to think as a human you'd want to take care of your family to the best of your ability, but I'd like to also think you would look out for your friends and neighbors and help them no matter what, and help them if you can. But when does that become putting your own family at risk? You know, when is that crossing the line? And again, when they're having that discussion over, you know, whose life is worth more, they're like, well, we have a baby, you know, we should go in. who gets to decide who lives and who dies, because in their world, in this moment, it's just paranoia, fear, like going into something very primal and animalistic, that it's life or death and we need to fight to survive, and forget everybody else, basically, like we need to put ourselves first and we need to survive. And again, I'm not saying that mentality is wrong, and again, maybe wrong's not the right word to use, but yeah, a lot of complex. There's no black and white in this episode, in my opinion, despite it being in black and white, but this is a very gray subject matter, and yeah, I think I can't imagine watching this on TV when it came out. And to go from Bill's birthday party, we find out he's a doctor, and, part of being the doctor is that you're supposed to save lives and help people, but he's obviously not on the clock right now. He's at home with his family, and to go from his birthday party where they're cheering for him, they're celebrating what a great man he is and how he's, so beloved among his colleagues and his patients, and, just hyping him up like he's this perfect example of a human, and he goes to protect his family. And again, I can't fault him for that. Like, that's, a great thing to do, but obviously we see that means cutting off his neighbors. And yeah, I'd be very curious to find out what discussions happened in the world when this came out, again, if they took the side of Bill, if they took the side of the neighbors, where does that go? Or maybe it's, too big of an issue to really have a solid answer, which I would also totally understand. And Bill shuts the door, he gets his wife and his kid in, and even his wife saying, like, let's not fight, like, I just want to end it, which was very sad. But I'd imagine people were having those real feelings if they thought the world they were gonna go back to was gonna be nothing, and that would be a very daunting task to rebuild. But he shuts off the world, obviously, and to see the conversations with his neighbors, and even Rod Serling mentions how important it is to be civilized, because again, coming out in the 60s, social norms, and maybe more in the 50s, but in the 60s, maybe a little bit as well. You'd want to, how you present, how you are to the neighbors, people, your reputation is very important, and putting on airs, and, maybe being more of a person than you're not your true self, which I think is what we see in this, when fear and vulnerability and that fight or flight instinct comes out in true form, because again, in their minds, they're fully convinced they're going to die. So they're not worried about being polite. They're breaking tables, breaking glass, busting down the door. And again, like, if you had told these people an hour ago, hey, you're gonna storm through my living room and break down my door, they're like, that's absurd, I would never behave this way. But of course, when they're put in that situation, all bets are off, and they do that exact thing because they want to survive, and they worried that even if they're not in that shelter, then they're gonna die, which they just sealed their own fate anyway, in my opinion. And even when he says, they're acting like a mob doesn't have a brain, that's exactly what they do, because they just bust down that door. There's no way that door is closing again. Like, if a real bomb had landed with real radiation, you're all doomed anyway, because you can't close the freaking door, because all of you guys came and freaking jammed it and broke it. Like, you're not solving any problems, you're just making more. But again, they're not thinking that way. They're just panicked, and I need to get into this or else, and I will do anything I can to get into this shelter. And as soon as they rip the door open, of course, they find out that it was just a satellite. Everything's fine. They panicked over nothing, but that neighborhood in no way is going to be the same. It reminded me a little bit of the Maple Street episode as well, because, yeah, there's no way those neighbors are hanging out again. And, we didn't have a body count in this one, but, even when he says, like, the damages, can be repaired, it's like, I think the damages go beyond, a broken door, and to know that those people are going to be your neighbors, and they've lived next to them for 20 years, and the friendships you would have lost over this. And even, the one character who was saying very offensive things to another character because he was from a different country and obviously had been feeling those things for a while. Like, it feels like, I'm not saying these characters were drunk, but it feels like, someone who gets drunk and then says things, and then, like, the next day, oh, I didn't mean them. I was like, I feel like he meant these things. It just wasn't socially acceptable to say them out loud. And even the lines about saying, like, the skin is peeled back, like, we get to see that layer underneath. Like, this is their true form. This is who they really are deep down. And this guy clearly had prejudice against, his neighbor, and otherwise he wouldn't have said those things. It's not something you can just go back to the office tomorrow and pretend this never happened. Like, these neighbors are never gonna, next year's birthday is gonna look very, very different. And I can't imagine the tension on that street and if they'll ever get over this, because how could you, how would you process this? How would you talk through this and be like, oh, it's cool. Remember the time you thought we were all gonna die and you just stormed into my bunker and put everybody's lives at risk? Yeah. come over, we're having a barbecue on Sunday. Like, no, that's probably not what's gonna go down. And obviously the entire episode takes place very short time span, like 2 hours, 3 hours maybe, between the birthday party and then, you know, the time they get into the bunker. One location with, you know, upstairs and downstairs of the same house. We do have a few shots of like the neighborhood, but that's it. And when everybody leaves, when they make this alarm, I thought, oh, they're going to their own shelters because, you know, clearly they've prepared for this, but obviously not. And even the way the neighbors were speaking about, they're like, this is our shelter. When they talk about bringing over people from other streets, they're like, no, forget those guys. They're on their own. So it's like, you're condemning Bill for shutting you out, but yet you're shutting out other people as well. And it just, again, brings up the conversation of at what point is it okay to turn away other people if it means saving yourself? And, you know, who do you invite in? There's no way all, like, you know, 15 of them would have fit in there comfortably. They had, you know, he's like, there's not even any air. Like, are you bringing your own air? He's not even talking about, you know, food and water and supplies, or if there's a bathroom in there. I have no idea, but literally air. Like, they would have suffocated if he would have just let them all in anyway. Even if it had been a day or two, it could have been a year. They had no idea. And like, all of those unknowns just fueled the fear in this episode, of course, and just fueled people's responses and their sheer panic, as you would, of course, if you thought this was coming to an end, because in their minds, this was a very real fear. This was a very real situation. And, you know, they're going from making fun of Bill for having a shelter an hour before to now suddenly being like, hey, it'd be great if you could let us into that. And to hear the neighbors talk about, you know, their houses don't have a basement, their houses don't have this. And you know, I wonder how the situation would have been reversed if Bill would have gone to his neighbor's house, if they would have let him in. You know, probably not. Again, I feel like people will put their family first. But yeah, a very, very interesting episode. I really enjoyed it. Great performances as always, even with a bigger cast. You know, quite a few of the characters had speaking roles. The kids didn't really say much except for Polly, but, you know, all the adults having this big conversation about who should live, who should die, and, you know, okay, let's just break the door down. Like, and I was wondering, if this is your last, you know, hour on Earth, why aren't you trying to prepare your basement as much as possible? Because clearly this place is a no. He said no. He's closed the door. It looks like a very, very tough door. I mean, obviously they do break it down, but why wouldn't you spend that time preparing your place as much as possible? Even if you thought, okay, it might not work, but they were just so fixated on this one idea and this one solution that it became everything. And again, I realize they're probably not thinking the most logically in this situation and obviously not acting logically. I can't imagine how terrifying this would have been if you thought this situation was real, you know, and it's wonderful to see under the scope of Twilight Zone this played out, because it gives us that space. It gives us, even under the guise of sci-fi with a UFO, you know, it still explores this theory and it maybe puts people in a situation to think about things differently or to prepare differently. I would have been so curious to see what the response was when this aired. But yeah, a really, really intense episode. I really liked it. Season 3 is off to a great start in my opinion, and yeah, some pretty complex themes in this episode, which I love. And even though we had UFOs, to me the star of the story is the humans battling each other out. You know, there is no actual bomb, there is no aftermath. They find out it's just satellites that are perfectly harmless, and the scare was for nothing. But it's the scare that brings out their true behavior and shows their true character. And yeah, that neighborhood is definitely not going to be the same anymore. So thank you so much for sharing in this first time watching with me. If you have any other suggestions for TV shows you think I should watch, please comment below. And as always, please like, comment, and subscribe to this channel, and check back often for more awesome content. This feels like red flags. I don't know what's going on. We got UFOs? Okay. And I can't imagine how terrifying this would be if you thought this was real, like, and the kids are just eating the cake, and like the candlelight, the shadows just adding this tension. Yeah, she's not even willing to let people over from the next street. You broke down his door!